No space.
That used to bug my buddy in college.
What's it?
The fact that when that Saturn ring wipes out of the way, it takes all the stars with it. He didn't understand it was a scene wipe. He thought it was just a
Interesting
mistake.
Strange new worlds. To seek out new life and new civilizations.
Is Brandon Braga and Seth Macfarlane?
As far as title sequence go, these don't really exist anymore. I remember that super flare on the letters was added this season, I think.
They're showing the beginning of, Next Generation. Patrick Stewart starring, Jonathan Frakes. That's where they're at right now. Also starring LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Michael Dorn as Worf. So
I follow all these guys on Twitter.
if you go right, if you watch the show right where I'm talking about,
Marina
this will
just
follow
joined.
it perfectly. Marina Sirtis
I think so.
as Counselor Troy.
He tweets a lot. Actually.
Brad Spiner as Lieutenant Commander Data.
This model, didn't this model sell for a bunch of money at the Christie's auction?
The bridge is now like.
Oh, did you see that recreated bridge?
I haven't seen it. No.
I gotta talk to you about that.
Captain.
All right, here we go. The loss. Counselor Troy loses her powers.
This is my favorite
Cause and effect on the
Babylon 5
screen.
episode.
Guest stars Michelle Forbes.
Michelle Forbes.
Data is shuffling
What
cards
happened there? Because she left this show,
real
right?
fast.
I'll tell you what happened was we loved her as Ensign Rowe.
No,
and
she was great.
When Deep Space Nine was
She was
created,
supposed to be a.
She was supposed to be instead of Kira.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be Rowe, but Michelle Forbes wanted to pursue a feature career, along with Will Wheaton and.
The dealer receives a 4.
I think you did. I think you did all right. Nana Visitor is a wonderful lady. She does voices for Family Guy fairly often.
7,
Very
no
good.
help there. Pair of ladies for the doctor. Dealer receives a 9.
Okay, well, Data's dealing. They're playing cards.
Doctor.
The poker scene. It's amazing sometimes that it was sustainable television.
It's great. It's because it was casual. It made science fiction casual.
Yeah.
It wasn't dark and greasy and submarine-like. It was comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like this could be Dynasty. This could be the set of Dynasty.
Deuce.
You're the only person I've ever heard
20.
who has said they really liked the design of this.
Dr.
Enterprise.
Crush.
You know,
I do. I think it's great. I think it's inspired.
I'm talking more about the interiors. It really looks like a spa in there right now.
Her hair could be straight out of Dynasty.
Yeah.
You know what I like is that, and I've said this before. It's realistically, if you were out in space for a long period of time, if it looked like Babylon 5 or one of these dark, gritty shows, you'd commit suicide.
You'd kill yourself.
It has to be as comfortable as possible.
Yeah.
It's arguably the most realistic spaceship ever designed.
Yeah, that's a really good
except
point.
for actual spaceships.
Directed by
like
Jonathan
Space
Frakes
Shuttle,
just came on the
which,
screen.
Of course, was actually real.
You're 20.
The only complaint I had about some of these interiors was often the characters would have paintings of space hanging on the wall.
Yeah, it's
like being on a sailing ship
that
and
might be-
you have nothing but water, ocean, paintings of the ocean.
my favorite observation that you've ever made of this show.
300 more.
So one thing that was cool about this episode was it was, I think, the only episode where the poker game figured into the plot.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't just...
It wasn't just a kind of a character scene, although I guess...
I miss Dr. Pulaski. Where's Dr. Pulaski?
That's
I miss
Stewie.
Rye Witten.
I guess it's better to be lucky.
What happened? I have no idea what happened to that actress.
Diana Muldaur?
Why did she leave the show?
I don't know.
Ogawa, it's Dr. Crusher.
You tell me.
Go ahead. Commander LaForge needs you in sickbay. On my way.
At first I thought the catwalk was spinning. As it turns out,
Okay, this is Cause and
Jonathan Frakes
Effect.
directed this episode.
Seth
He did an
Macfarlane and Brannon
admirable
Braga
job
are doing the
making
audio
each-
commentary.
Why is
Around
Geordi always the
2003,
first guy
whenever the
to ever get
Blu-ray
afflicted
came
with
out.
any disease?
It is only on the
It's
Blu-ray
like, They
edition.
always got the Geordi. I don't know, Doc. It just feels sort of
Season
fun.
5, episode Cause and Effect.
It's like,
Disc number 4.
Because of the visor, man.
I have been putting a lot of extra hours on this Typhon Expanse project.
I'll give you 20 cc's of Verdazine. That should clear up the dizziness, but finding time to relax is up to you.
What? What is it?
Jordy, have you had these symptoms before?
No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm
What's her
positive.
affectation in her voice?
Country club? Bushwood?
I feel like we've discussed this before.
You know, Gates McFadden, since the day we met, to as recently as the last time I saw her at Star Trek, she calls me Brannon. And I never corrected her. I never
Really?
corrected her. She
This
thinks
means you're a smart guy.
my name's Brannon.
Try to get some
Was that the
rest.
name of
High places for a
the
few days just
the,
in
the
case.
scientist in Escape from New York?
Thanks, Doc.
It might be. Boy.
Get it, nerds? I do. She's kind of a wild chick though. When she came in to do Family Guy, I was surprised that I got the sense she was maybe a little bit of a hippie, like very different from her character.
She's up in Silver Lake running a theater, like an experimental theater right now. It's a hell of a hummer.
I can't wait to get home and prune after this is done.
They're showing Beverly Crusher
be
pruning a
sipping
plant
Have a
right
glass
now.
of wine, from
Drinking
a
wine.
glass that's mostly stem, and prune. Right, and then she hears the music box and goes crazy. No, wait a second.
She's laying down in bed and turned the lights off.
Look at those plants right above her head.
I see them.
Oh, she hears the voices. She
So
hears the voice.
was that the whole thought? This must have been a fun loop group, show.
By the way, would that glass make that sound? I don't think so. How would that glass break on carpet? Because those sets are carpeted, that little glass.
As you can see, the
I
Typhon
don't know, man.
Expanse is huge. If we
Now,
want
why
to
did you guys change the models of the ships on the wall to? Was that this season that changed, or was it last season to those big metal things?
Because they were hideous. Those big gold ships. They were. I don't know. I just seemed.
until the Stellar Dynamics Lab decided they needed
Brannon
to install
Braga produced or
Ops
something
Lounge,
this episode.
got a revamp. This set was
And he's also
notorious for having all the exposition
producer of The
scenes.
Orville,
Kinda dreaded
and was
right
also a writer on Family Guy, I'm pretty sure. Might be thinking of someone else.
I heard voices in my room last night.
They're all
This is a
close
briefing,
friends
a
though.
daily briefing. I heard voices in my room last night.
But this morning, 10 other people reported hearing voices at the same time as I did. What were
They're talking
voices
about hearing
saying?
voices. Can't turn the audio
I
up too
couldn't make
much.
them out.
Probably gonna block me anyway.
Did the sensors pick up anything?
As I was saying, Frakes did a great job directing this.
Yep. All of his episodes that he directed were fantastic.
Recheck the sensor logs. Aye, sir. Counselor.
I sensed nothing unusual last night.
Maybe it's a problem with the comm system.
Bridge to Captain Picard. Go ahead.
Brannon Braga,
Unusual readings.
I'm pretty sure he's the guy that got Seth Macfarlane on Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise,
By
and
the way,
those guest
I'm
starring
struck
roles
by the quaint
in a couple of
analog nature
episodes.
of
There's
how the
a
starship
video on
runs.
my
Like,
page
you think that
with all the
the
scenes that he did on
navigational computer
Enterprise.
would detect an anomaly, alert you, move the ship. Everything is like
Space-time continuum. On screen.
But isn't that the whole philosophy that the computers are
Brannon
still,
Braga,
people still
people are
Uh,
still better than computers. I guess so. Yeah.
not Goldberg, but something Gold.
Nice.
Goldman? Yes, Goldman. They were
Captain, maneuvering thrusters are not
producers
responding.
on The Orville, or
I had one of those earrings in college.
they got it together. Showrun or something. They were all deeply involved in The Orville. Also lifelong friends of Seth MacFarlane.
Power levels are dropping rapidly.
The show was extremely well lit.
Yeah.
It had very, very easy to look
At the time, was it Roger? Was it Marvin Rush? Great effect.
Look at that! It's
Look at
fantastic.
that thing.
That's better than anything they're doing on TV now.
And the collision. Watch this collision with the nacelle. It's great because it's real. Those were big ass models that they built.
No response. Suggestions.
Great little piece of acting. He always gives you a little extra something, doesn't he?
Oh yeah.
He's uncomfortable. Look at that thing coming at you.
Yeah. he's just extraordinary.
This is great. Look at this.
Yeah. That must have been hundreds of man-hours back then to do a shot like that.
Casualty reports coming in from all over the ship.
Starboard nacelle sustained a direct impact, venting dry plasma.
Initiating emergency course.
And they really did perfect the shake.
Yeah.
We're losing attitude control.
Although he's,
Even he frakes with his. Well, he's kind of cash with his leg up
he's
there.
just kind of mounting data there.
And then he's off. He's directing, so he had to get up.
That's a great sound effect, that alarm.
Oh yeah, it's great.
God, I'm such a nerd.
Dude, it's okay, man.
You know what? At least I love something.
Yeah.
At least I'm enthusiastic. At least I got something that makes me happy, right?
There's nothing wrong with
The stage of my career, I mean, anything that makes me
The
happy.
Enterprise just blew up again.
There ain't much. There ain't much.
The Enterprise
Now it's starting over.
This is about the point in the episode where, when I made my mother sit down to watch it, say, "No, Star Trek is really good. Just give it a chance." So I don't understand. Didn't that thing just blow up?
Who's the animal? Who's that man who looks like an animal?
Who's the ghost dealing the cards?
Queen, the dealer receives a 4.
Yeah, boy, you look at this 90s stuff and
No bet.
Other than the hairstyles, it's kind of timeless. Like, you
Pair of ladies
could get away with this now.
Dealer receives a 9. Doctor, may I remind you, since you show the highest hand, you control the next bet.
Yeah, I know.
Is there something wrong, Doctor?
No. I'll bet 10.
it amazed me. This episode, I should have actually not but really been paid to write this episode because it's really the same thing over and over again. It's a very spare episode. But I don't know how is it in all seriousness, how is it sustaining itself?
You gotta figure that would be a very difficult thing, though. I mean, you look at Groundhog Day, which everyone kind of feels.
It came 2 years after this, I might add.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I know this predated it, but it's that's a lot of us feel that was the best script that Harold Ramis ever wrote. For that reason, is that you have to tell the same sequence of events over and over, and yet somehow make it interesting and different each time, and it does. And it's a lot harder with TV because you have so little time to do it.
I'm going to tell you too. Nothing like this had ever been done on television or movies. People thought the calls came into the TV stations that something was wrong.
That's great.
That the same act was.
You and the Sopranos finale.
Yeah, exactly. My TV went off, but it was kind of cool at the time. Now this kind of structural, it's certainly on TV. This kind of structural experimentation is very commonplace. At the time, it wasn't.
Yep. It's almost too overused now. It's almost like everything has to be cut in a funky Pulp Fiction-y kind of way, and it's like, just tell me a story.
Well, what's great about science fiction is
We've had this discussion
that
before.
the style becomes the substance, because it's not done arbitrarily. Like Pulp Fiction, great structure, but it's somewhat arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
This is the story. They're trapped in a causality loop.
This episode is better than Pulp Fiction.
Is that what I said? That's
No, look, I'll say it, man. I'll say it.
Must be deja vu.
Both of us? About the same thing?
Now here we go again.
She's clipping the flowers.
Can't wait to get home and drink wine out of a long stem glass and prune. Wait a second.
Put a little bow in your hair.
It's an awkwardly small glass.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's a synthahol, Beverly. Pour yourself a stiff one. Doesn't matter. By the way, greatest invention ever by Gene Roddenberry. The holodeck and synthahol. You can drink, and then just wish it all away.
Is that the idea?
The deal with synthahol.
Synthahol, it doesn't get you drunk in the first place.
It gets you drunk,
or
but
you
then
can instantly.
At will, you can be sober.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Damn.
By the way, very
I have a
underappreciated invention.
I have a feeling that would kind of. There would be something about that would be kind of ruin the whole experience.
Yeah, probably so. All the risk goes away.
Yeah. All the danger that you damage your life and every relationship in it.
Do you have a minute, Jean-Luc?
This was the season that premiered Picard's gray suit and jacket. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, his away jacket. His
Picard and Crusher just sat down together talking.
Boy, did these actors milk this scene. They milked the subtext of this scene and their relationship and the whole thing.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. It just wasn't on the page. I didn't intend any of it.
Make sure no one touches this book. In fact, you know what? Put it in glass.
What is that book that's in glass?
No idea.
But
Why must it be open to that page?
That's a good... Hey, Seth, that's a great piece of trivia.
Yeah.
That's a great piece of trivia. Where are the Okudas? The Okudas with Denise and Michael Okuda could tell you that answer.
it could be nothing more than the result of a sleepless night. But let's be sure. Have Data and Geordie run a shipwide diagnostic, concentrating on the time and place when you heard the voices. We'll discuss the results tomorrow at 700 hours.
Thank you.
She's still wearing the bow, you see?
Yeah. She knew where she was going.
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, see the looks between
It's very
them.
inconspicuous. You've got some yarn in your hair. Were you knitting?
By the way, I gotta hand it to Rob Legato, who was doing the effects at the time. They did some shots of the ship marching forward through space with kind of this inevitable fate feeling.
Yeah.
Like, these guys put a lot of work into this show.
The effects were gorgeous.
Go ahead. We are getting unusual readings. 20,000 kilometers off the starboard bow. On our way.
Like, she senses it.
I'm
cool.
I'm a fan of this early 90s, actually I guess it dates from the 80s, this very kind of bright front lighting, which is very kind of passé now, but it's so nice to look at. It's just comfortable to watch. It's just like a warm blanket for your eyes.
Back us off, Ensign.
I gotta tell you, Seth, I miss this show.
Oh,
I miss the rhythms of it.
What's this about to turn into, Brandon? It might be time for me to go.
Are you opposed to snuggling?
I miss these days.
All main systems just...
Everything's so terrible now.
Red alert. There's an energy buildup in the distortion field.
We have to get out of here now.
Captain.
Okay, that
something is
woman
emerging.
played Ro Laren, which is a different character in
Shields
this
up.
one.
Evasive maneuvers. Shields inoperative.
The helmet's
Her.
not responding.
The vessel is on a
Michelle
collision course. Impact in
something.
36...
Just watching the show now.
No response.
I guess this is kind of a hard episode to give commentary on because
It's just repeat. But like, it always was Picard's like suggestions. Like, they don't have time for suggestions. By the way,
you're the captain. You're the captain. These are the moments when you're supposed to come up with something.
Well, in the time that Data gets the suggestion, he could have just done it. And as a result, of course, they collide with each other.
The two ships are about to collide, and he goes, "Conference in my ready room."
Core shut down. Inertial dampers failing. We're losing attitude control. This is the bridge. All hands to emergency escape pods.
Where is... Yeah, you know what's... I'm sure we discussed all this stuff at that round table, but what I miss about this show is the fact that it was episodic, and there was so much... You didn't burn off... Nowadays, you burn off a premise in a season. Okay, this season 1 will be tracking this story,
That's
and you guys came up with one of those every week.
It was a nightmare, man. It was hard to do. Seriously,
What is,
it's hard to do.
one full season of Lost, and you guys are doing that in one episode. And next week you got to come up with something new. And that to me is so much harder than this serialized format that everyone has now. And you can miss an episode. You can miss a dozen
why they're
episodes. You
doing
come
it like
back
that
and
now.
the characters are still
Easier.
the same. It's a self-contained story.
Can I tell you, I'm working on a new show right now that I'm having a real debate with people about who are into this serialized storytelling. I'm like, you know what, guys? Each episode, let's make each episode have
Yeah.
an identity.
Yeah.
And
back when people were actually watching television, that was what they did.
This was
one
about
successful
2003 or
network,
4 or
they're telling
5 when
this
this
kind of storytelling.
was done.
The
Seth MacFarlane had
successful
Family Guy
CBS,
already for some
yeah,
years.
CBS Paramount, who releases these
And he had
Blu-rays.
just come out on Star Trek
Hugely
Enterprise.
successful hour-long dramas, regardless of what you think of them. I mean,
That's why they asked him to do
CSIs
this commentary,
are
because they were putting a
they're-
Blu-ray
it's
together.
it's the only show that's not serious. I mean, they have a different problem. Is that the structure is the same every week, and what you guys didn't do that. You guys were sort of the best of all worlds.
We mixed it up.
Yeah, you didn't know what you were going to see.
We messed with this. We messed with this with the storytelling structure, but that's because we had science fiction
Pressure to sick bay.
to do that.
Sick bay here.
Is Commander
Nursegawa.
George there?
God, I always liked her. I thought she was kind of hot.
First Officer Stanley Hazard.
Wait a minute.
Look that one up, kids.
Came in.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He was in Frakes played. He was in the John Jakes North and South miniseries from the 80s.
Right.
Wanted to see me, Doctor?
Yes.
We played a very different character. Played kind of a sleazy guy.
I've been getting the feeling that you've
Now,
experienced.
what's interesting is this was the scene.
I guess it's sort of Riker, but
Just recently.
I like this scene because
Why do you ask?
it was just Geordi and Beverly twice. Now Picard's in there, but no one figures anything out.
Of deja vu. I had a premonition Geordi was going to come into sickbay. A few seconds later, he did, with the symptoms of an ear
Oh
infection.
yeah.
I was going to run the standard tests.
even the uniforms look comfortable. Like you know,
So I ran an optical diagnostic.
I when I did Enterprise, that one episode of Enterprise that I did.
I thought you did too.
His dizziness.
You're right. I did too. Okay, I did too. So those jumpsuits were very uncomfortable.
So did they ride up a little?
They
bit?
ride up your They really get you in the
Zippity
your,
doodah.
your upright soldier and his army of two suffer.
Somehow.
These things. It looks like I'm going to work in my pajamas.
That's exactly right.
It's all about comfort.
Keep me advised.
But they're brightly colored and they're nice to look at.
Yep.
And when we were creating the color palette for Family Guy, we took a cue from The Simpsons, who were the first to figure out in a long time, you know what? Bright colors are nice to look at.
Okay, they're showing Beverly. She's about to clip the flowers
They'd have
again and
laser scissors
probably
in the
drink some
future.
wine.
I'm going to tell you something, Seth. Some technologies never change. Scissors and shoelaces. Shoelaces ain't going anywhere.
No.
They're not.
No.
1,000 years from now, they'll still be shoelaces.
She's
Oh,
looking
look,
at the
don't-
wine. She don't want to drink it.
Yeah, she's gonna full fate this time. Well, people really seem to like this little detail.
Yeah, it's simple. It ain't showy. Although being able to drink the same drink over and over again, infinitely. My God.
She's recording the voices.
It's like Kiefer
She's
Sutherland's
got a
dream.
scanner. She's walking around looking at stuff. Beverly.
Crusher to Commander LaForge.
LaForge here.
Geordi.
When you listen to them, are they just going peas and carrots, peas and
I
carrots,
have-
rhubarb, peas
I
and
actually
carrots?
have no idea what they're saying.
Sensors just picked up something strange too. We're checking it out.
I'm on my way.
Oh, but uh-oh.
But you know what, Seth? You can laugh, but people like that.
Looks like you managed to
No,
record.
this is it's a laugh of affection.
Let's see if we can filter the signal. Clear it up.
It's the fact that you guys used a live orchestra every week too is so important.
But here's the deal. What? No choice back then.
Really?
The synthetic
Because there was a
scores-
lot of
There
bad-
was, but I will tell you though, it was a conscious choice, and it was mainly Gene Roddenberry and Rick Berman.
It makes everything seem. I mean, first of all, now years later, it's a very underrated part of what makes it still feel
Perform a narrow bandwidth analysis.
important.
Yeah.
Eliminate all
Absolutely.
Even if the audience doesn't know
The
that that's what they're
music
hearing,
is not dated.
it's not at all on a subconscious level. It's and you had some great. We hired one of our composers, Ron Jones, for Family Guy, based on his music for Star Trek.
please.
Data's twitching, looking, thinking.
There are
approximately 1,000 voices overlapping. The voices are those of the Enterprise crew. Our voices.
I'm always amazed at Brent Spiner. This android. I remember when I first saw this show, I thought it was how stupid it was that there was a robot named Data. But man, he sure did grow on you after a while.
But that's that's
That's the equivalent of the bright colors.
It is. It is.
Instantly graspable.
It's fearless sentimentality. It's why people are still watching The Sound of Music half a century later. It's fearless, open sentimentality, and writers, directors, television is terrified of that nowadays. You know?
Yep.
There's a lot of the last show to do that openly was Seventh Heaven. It was like when that thing went. Not that that's something I would recommend people watch, but.
Well, you know what? It had Catherine Hicks in it.
All right, yeah. Stephen Collins. 2 Star Trek vets. Yeah. But it is. There was an honesty.
There's no irony in this show.
No.
This is an irony-free zone.
Yeah.
There's no reflexiveness. It is what it is.
And yet they did humor better than any of the series. When the humor popped up on the show, the comedy was always just the right tone. That was the other thing. Those episodes, you get that In Theory episode where Data dates that girl.
Yeah.
That was completely legitimate.
It was good
comedy. It was.
Comedy was Spartan on the show,
but where it was placed, it was like what Spielberg, he used to do in the Indiana Jones movies. It was when it showed up, it was always at just the right moment.
That's why his pure comedies, I don't think, work too well. Like
1941.
Yeah, or Always, or the things.
Yeah, they don't have to. he's doing just fine. He's doing just fine without him.
This was around 14 years before he made the Orville.
Brother, oh my God, is that what I really sound like? Don't play that again. Good God.
Are people doing revoiced episodes of things? Like, are people like taking episodes like this and putting new dialogue in it? Is that something that's happening on YouTube?
Probably.
Perhaps we should reverse course. For all we know, reversing course may be what leads us into the crash.
That old chestnut.
No, we can't afford to start second-guessing ourselves. We'll stay on this course until we have reason to change it. But let's do everything that we can to avoid the collision.
Captain, we might not be able to figure out how to avoid this accident until it's too late. And if the loop begins again, we'll
That's
forget
too much talking.
everything we
My
learned this time
video's going to get blocked. I'm going to have to start talking.
What do you suggest?
All the stuff that I bought in college that I ordered. I had one of those pins.
Is that possible?
You had one of the comm badges?
One of the little comm badges. I used to wear it actually I had one of those in high school because I went to this stuffy boarding school, and you had to wear a coat and tie every day, and
You wore the comm badge?
I wore it as a lapel pin. My way of rebelling.
And send ourselves a message. Not a long one. Probably only
But all I had the courage to do.
Do you know the
It was
guy
a very
who just,
Dead Poets Society kind of place.
The guy who just walked in here, Joe McCucci?
Yeah.
You may not know this. Dead serious. One of the assistants working with Seth. His mom and dad are huge Next Gen fans. Huge. And they almost named him Jean-Luc.
Really?
You know that? Yep. After Picard. True
Wasn't
story.
after that Folgers commercial or whatever that.
Take whatever steps necessary.
Go.
No, it's possible.
Even that, look, for the time, even that was a great.
Although it
little
kind of
piece of
moved a little
business.
bit there. That was it's a decent little makeup effect.
No, I don't.
Data's got his brain or circuitry exposed on his skull.
Again, like this show had in many ways the writing of a philosophy textbook and the rhythms of a sitcom.
Senior officers report to the bridge.
The rhythms of a sitcom.
There was a lightness to it that is part of, I think, what made it as successful as it was and what spawned 4 movies.
Magnus offense.
There's just a lightness to the whole show that you don't see in this genre.
Captain, maneuvering thrusters are not responding.
The distortion field is...
I keep going back to the word casual. This show casualizes.
Well, because
science
it was just kind of it is what it
feels like an office.
It wasn't saying we're science fiction.
No, it feels like an office show.
Yeah, I gotcha. What's great about this incarnation of the loop is they figured it out.
That might be the character Laren.
But it resets anyway.
Shields inoperative.
Can't really hear the episode. Yeah, I think it is Laren. She's got the same facial
36 seconds.
Wrinkles on her nose.
Suggestions?
Decompress main shuttle bay. The explosive reaction may blow us out of the way.
Captain, I suggest we use the tractor beam to alter the other ship's trajectory.
We gotta
Oh
do
shit,
something
they're
like this,
talking
man.
too much.
We gotta do something like this now.
It's
There's a void. There's a void in television.
I agree with you. No one's doing it. And it's hard to do, though. And
Yeah.
it's expensive. Although it doesn't have to be expensive.
Nowadays, this would not be expensive.
You know, you said something the other day about... by the way, I think Picard's overdoing it a little bit with the shaking.
We're losing attitude control.
This is the bridge.
It's just people talking in rooms.
Yeah. And then judiciously placed effects, and each one is just awesomely... The artistry, the craftsmanship is just fantastic.
All hands abandon ship! Repeat! All hands abandon...
It just blew up the Enterprise again.
It's too bad you never made it to the next gen set.
Captain's log, Stardate
No,
456.
I wasn't.
The Enterprise has entered an area of space...
The show was off the air before I was out of college, unfortunately.
This unexplored region.
Sometimes I wonder if he's stacking the deck.
I assure you, Commander, the cards are sufficiently randomized.
I hope so.
No, you stacked it to remind you of what to do.
This was the hardest part of figuring out this episode, was how to get them out of the time loop.
This must have been an editing nightmare, because you have all this coverage of the poker table, you have all this coverage of each space. Like,
I'll tell you why.
Which part was this from?
I'll tell you why it wasn't.
You can't scan through it.
I'll tell you why it wasn't, because Frakes shot it so specifically. Incarnation.
Yeah.
Deal the cards, Data.
Three. All threes.
I was positive I knew what cards were going to be dealt.
So what was interesting, I'm not exactly sure I remember, but I think maybe the poker game was in the script before it became the solution. And then the whole idea of the repeating threes is fascinating to watch.
Yeah.
And then you find out it's just 3 pips on Frakes' neck. Yeah. I don't know how satisfying that is. I'll be honest with you.
It is as satisfying as any black and white 1960s episode of The Twilight Zone, which is very satisfying in its simplicity.
That's my favorite.
No, not at all. No, that's what TV is afraid to do now, and that's what this show did fearlessly and openly, and I think that's a virtue. I think nowadays it would be second guessed.
You have all the symptoms of an inner ear infection. That would explain the headaches, dizziness. But I don't see any physical...
Jordy, you're in here a lot.
So yeah, Jordy and Dr. Crusher,
Jordy, have you ever had
she's telling him, you got the inner ear infection. That's where we're at. They're showing Jordy mostly and Dr. Crusher.
I'm so bummed I didn't take a single item from this show. Not a prop, nothing. Nothing.
These guys aren't talking enough.
You've been treated several times for headaches related to your visor, but there's no mention of dizziness.
Too much dialogue.
Both of us? About the same thing.
Seth Macfarlane got it hired right out of college. Maybe while he was still in college by Hanna-Barbera.
I have a hunch.
And he drew the Steve... My Life is Steve, or Steve and Larry, that's what it was, something like that. And that became Family Guy. He drew it in college. And one of his college professors presented it to Fox.
Fox
gave it to him.
Wedding cake she's got on her head, and it is fabulous.
I'm a locksmith, I'm getting a job. I can't stop the noise.
That's how he sits when no one else is
Yeah,
around.
I was going to say it's an odd way of sitting. And there's his picture of space on the wall. On a spaceship.
One knee.
By the way, what is that?
One knee tucked under one buttock.
So why is there a painting of his ship? There's a painting of his Enterprise on the wall. I guess so. But...
I think it's like having, you know, like your own Emmy nomination certificate hanging in your office.
I got here. I got to this point in my career. This is my ship.
It's causing him to see things.
There's the jacket.
There it is.
Like blurry after images.
I ran a scan to see if I could.
Her hair's getting bigger.
I picked up minuscule distortions
They're
in the
showing Dr.
surrounding
Crusher.
Dekian field. His visor seems to be translating those distortions into visual impulses.
Could be a malfunction in the ship's warp
And they're
field
showing
generator.
Geordi.
I'll check it out.
While you're at it, run a localized
They're
subspace
showing
scan to look
Picard.
for anything unusual.
Aye, sir.
Keep me advised, Doctor.
Lateral sensors online.
This was such a great set.
Subspace scanners active.
So beige.
Engineering, yeah.
Diagnostic on the warp subsystems.
What did you call it? A dentist's office waiting room. But again, something that's designed.
You would
to...
say that's how you would design it if you're going to live on a ship for years.
An inordinate number of times over the last 2 hours.
We have a Dekian field fluctuation on deck 9.
Most people forget, who are fans of the show may forget that this was a generational ship. It was sort of like families lived here. Thousands and thousands of people lived on the ship.
Sensors just picked up something strange, too. We're checking it out.
I'm not a family man, Riker. Yet Starfleet has seen fit to give me a ship with children on board. And since the captain must project an air of geniality,
Damn, he
don't
sounds
see
like
that's what I
Picard.
project.
Great encounter at Farpoint moment where, whoa, is this guy a monster? Who knows? Guess we'll find out.
Warp refers to a distortion. If this were a temporal distortion, and if we were close enough to it, it's possible that a large enough explosion might have
By the
ruptured
way,
space-time.
this promotes good cooperative values. you know, like get together to solve problems.
You're right about this. Then perhaps we can escape from the loop by avoiding the collision.
That's our guess.
Perhaps we should reverse
It
course.
was a better time.
Reversing course might be what leads us to
It was the 1990s future was a better time.
Yes, that's all. We should stay on this course until we have reason to change it. But in the meantime,
Look at the chairs, though. It's like that's you don't find that chair on a spaceship. You find it in Jeffrey Katzenberg's office.
On consoles, in a poker game.
Yeah. Why must starships be so uncomfortable?
I don't know.
Examples of the number 3.
All of these threes can't be coming up by accident.
Maybe someone's trying to tell us something.
We came to the same conclusion, so we ran a ship-wide diagnostic. The only unusual thing we found was a Dekian field modulation in Data's positronic subprocessors.
what could be causing it?
All right. So, the book that's open in Picard's quarters, is it his quarters or his ready room?
His ready room.
His ready room. In this episode is the illustrated collected works of Shakespeare. The page was always different.
Oh, interesting.
Purely random.
Run a level 3 diagnostic on all key systems.
It's a good idea. I'll have the computer run a pattern matching algorithm on
So
it.
he would take the glass off, flip the page. So he just leave it open.
He wanted people to think he was smart.
Just had track medals lying around it.
Exactly.
Why don't you play your Oscar Peterson, Picard, and leave Bartok lying around for everyone to see? That's a good idea. Figure that one out, folks. Figure that mashup of movies and TV.
How do you think we handled this before? Back us off, Ensign. Nice.
That's a great read. That's a great performance of that line because it's like he's
giving
There's-
he's giving so much more than was on the page.
there's so much futility in that read.
Power levels are dropping rapidly.
There's an energy buildup in the distortion field.
So much resigned futility.
Now.
Captain, something is emerging.
Shields up. Evasive maneuvers.
Oh, I know what's coming. I forgot about this.
The helm's not responding.
The vessel is on a collision course. Impact in 36 seconds.
Hail them. No response. Suggestions?
Decompress main shuttle bay. The explosive reaction may kick us out of the way.
Captain, I suggest we use the tractor beam to alter the other ship's trajectory.
Make it so, Mr. Wolf.
How did this come about? Did he just, like everyone else
They
at
were
the time,
shooting. They were shooting cheers down the street. And
that's a great. I remember watching this on TV and going, "Oh, that's awesome!" Like it's so simple and so perfect in tone.
So Zeta's plan. It is pretty simple, but it's clever enough.
It is. Well, because do you see it coming? No.
No.
Can you predict it? No. There you go. Is it simple?
You're trying to predict it.
You are. Is it simple and unpredictable?
Data's explaining, but
yes,
we can't hear him.
That is the
How
essence
what
of
he
what
changed that saved
good
him.
writing is, I think.
So they were shooting cheers down the streets.
Same thing that good melody writing is in music. If it's simple
That is possible.
and yet surprising.
I may also have inadvertently been responsible for the...
So I don't really... Kelsey Grammer comes on here.
Red alert. I try to access a Federation time-based beacon.
It's good that it was him and not like Norm or Cliff. And to show you what year it is, we just left this morning. I don't know how this happened. It reminds me of a story, though. Starship captain I used to know back in Rehoboth.
Macfarlane is imitating Cliff Clavin from
Computer
Cheers.
identifies it as the USS Bozeman, a Federation starship.
He took a lot of voice lessons growing up
Soyuz
to
class.
modulate his voice and train his voice to do things.
They haven't been in service in over 80 years.
Open a channel.
So this little ship's been trapped for 80
That would be
years.
the equivalent nowadays of
Oh,
someone
there's
saying,
Fraser.
"Oh, it's an old, it's an Edsel, an Edsel."
I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard.
Nobody's made those for 50 years. We know.
We're just going to ask you the same thing.
Now was that a set that was built for this, or was that?
It was a set that was, I think it was built for this, but it was modeled after the...
Cheers
more
was
of
shooting
like
down the
Kirk
street.
time.
I'm sure. Maybe it was. Probably
Temporal
was.
distortion. Then your ship appeared. We nearly hit you.
The Enterprise has been caught up in a temporal causality loop, and I suspect that something similar may have happened to you.
You must be mistaken. We left Starbase only 3 weeks ago.
Captain, do you know what year this is?
Of course I do.
And you
Oh
guys
yeah,
found
he's dressed
him
like
in,
Kirk was in
was it
1984
Berman or
Whale
somebody
movie.
was going to see a Shakespeare play, right?
I don't remember. It was...
Go see Macbeth,
Somebody did.
and there was Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it was an unusual choice.
And look at that, a beautiful final shot.
It's over. Executive producer Rick Berman.
Very nicely done, Brannon Braga.
Thanks, man. And thanks for watching with me.
Okay, take it easy.
Until next time. All these guys are great, man. A lot of them are still working. Some of them have passed away.
See, I did the counter melody.
By the way, Jerry Goldsmith.
Brilliant. A huge loss when that guy passed away. Unbelievable
If you look
talent,
at his list
Jerry
of
Goldsmith.
movies, it's kind of astounding, the variety of things he's done. Thanks for watching.
Probably gonna have to cut it off. Playing too much Star Trek, the Next Generation theme. Okay, I think they're done talking. Yeah, they're done.